Hello ladies and gentlemen, GameSty here. This is the Normal and Heroic DPS guide for Brackenspore. And overview for this on DPS is simply to watch your positioning relative to the boss as well as other raid members, and target swap as appropriate to the priority targets as they appear. This is all about switching your DPS quickly and rapidly to handle what needs to be dealt with, as well as positioning yourself when you need to. So the first major component is Flamethrower and how that's used to handle creeping moss. Now only a couple people will be assigned to do this, in fact 2. So if you are assigned to do so, you need to pick up one of the Flamethrowers before the fight starts. It's on the ground. And then you'll have an extra action button as well as an extra energy bar. This bar indicates your heat level for your Flamethrower. So the more rapidly you use it in a short period of time, the faster your heat level goes up. If you max out your heat, you'll have a cooldown before you can use it again. So ideally you want to manage your usage along with the other partner that you have that's also using the flamethrowers so that neither of you maxes out too quickly. So you can kind of see in the background some of the people. We have 2 hunters in our case assigned to do it. The goal for the flamethrower managers is to fire and destroy the creeping moss patches that will spawn around the room. And these are just green little squares that will spread quickly if they're not burned by the flamethrower players. So you have to be very quick to react, have a lot of awareness, have your camera zoomed far out, and always be scanning to see when those new spawns come up. It also, of course, will help if your raid members can call out where new patches might be spawning and all that good stuff. Throughout the fight, your DPS priority should be on the Mine Fungus and the Spore Shooter spawns. These both spawn fairly frequently. The Mine Fungus is just a stationary mushroom that will reduce everyone's haste in a short radius around it. And it spawns underneath players, so it will typically hit a majority of the raid. The Spore Shooters will come in pairs. Usually they'll be picked off by ranged DPS, but melee can certainly help. And while they're active, they will shoot little bolts that do damage to the targeted player as well as anyone nearby. So you want to prioritize both these targets very quickly when they appear. If none of those are active, then you can just get back on the boss or the Flesh Eater depending on your raid's strategy and priority. The large Flesh Eater spawns are also very important. But only a couple DPS may need to worry about them, again, depending on your raid strategy. The key here is that they cast an ability called Decay, which can be interrupted, but if it is not interrupted, it does massive damage to the raid and probably will kill somebody, if not cause a wipe. It's cast frequently enough that it requires 2 players to take turns interrupting it over and over while it's active. So again, if you are a DPS that can and would like to interrupt this frequently, again, depending on your raid strategy, that should be something you focus on. Otherwise, it probably will not be a priority target because aside from the decay casts themselves, the Flesh Eater does not present any threat other than its required tanking mob. So you may or may not need to prioritize the Flesh Eater over the boss. Now throughout the fight, there are 2 helpful mushrooms that will spawn frequently, the living and rejuvenating mushrooms. Once either of these is healed to full health at least one time, they will start to pulse a very helpful buff around them in a short radius. So if you're standing nearby one of these mushrooms that's activated, you will get this buff. The living mushroom causes a pretty massive heal over time, and the rejuvenating mushroom regenerates mana, but more importantly for DPS, it provides about 30% haste while you're nearby an activated one. So in either case, once one of these mushrooms is activated, as a DPS, you should stand inside it to gain the benefits of it. This is particularly important when the boss reaches 100 energy and casts his Spores debuff, which is a 10-second dot that increases in damage over time. So your raid will need to be in living mushrooms that are activated, ideally, to help mitigate some of that damage and heal up. Otherwise, obviously, you want to use DPS cooldowns when you're inside a rejuvenating mushroom that is activated to stack up with that haste buff. So that's pretty much it. Just focus on the priority targets first and foremost. Then you can take care of the Flesh Eater and or the boss, help with interrupts if you need to on the Flesh Eater, and otherwise stand inside the mushrooms when they're activated. That is the normal DPS guide for Brackenspore. As always, good luck, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next fight.